Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. Hi, Tom and Matt here, your buddies of the containment unit. We are here today with a very, very special guest. My dear friend, our dear friend, Terri Hardin. Terri, thank you for spending some time with us today. How are you doing over there?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. You know, here in California, we had something we hadn't had in a long time: thunder and lightning. So I was like, oh my goodness, thunder and lightning. You know, so it's been good. We've got snow. That's another thing we don't get down in Southern California that much. So everybody was very excited about that. So yeah,
I don't get that here in Orlando very often
good.
either.
No, we were talking about Florida too, Matt, and how Florida has got weather. You know, I went to the Disney University down there for a little bit, and, you know, you're standing out waiting to go inside, and for 5 minutes, the sky opens up and just dumps the water, and then it dries up, and the teacher opens the door and said,
Yeah, exactly. It's a daily occurrence almost.
Unbelievable. I just have never seen anything like it before. So pretty wild.
So Terri, you know, when people ask me about your involvement with Ghostbusters, the first thing I always tell them is, she's Zuul, you know, because you had that incredible honor and privilege of being that terror dog. But some people may not know that the way you started on the picture was a little different, and you were on a different department, on a different creature. So I was wondering if you could start by telling us a little bit about your work on everybody's favorite, Mr. Stay Puft.
Mr. Stay Puft. Well, it all started. No, way back when. Well, I actually, back in the day of Ghostbusters, which we shot around 1982, and there was a group of people that did practical effects. You could actually bounce from shop to shop to shop and do practical effects. That's what we did. And each person had their skill. Mine was soft foam sculpting, and so was Billy Bryant. And Billy and I actually got to know each other on Dune. That was my first film. And so we're working on Dune, doing the thing. And what happens is you're all together, you're building what you got to build. The movie starts to wind down, and everybody goes, hey man, there's another movie down in Marina Del Rey. Want to go down there? We're all going to go down there, and we're going to go, you know, apply. You want to go? Yeah. So we go, you know, pack ourselves up, and we drive down to Marina Del Rey, and it's Ghostbusters. I don't read scripts well. I was trying to find my script so I could show it to you. I know I have it. I just couldn't remember exactly where it was.
Oh,
So
you still have your script?
My script is somewhere. I know it's somewhere with all my notes. So if I can find, when I find it, I will, you know, it comes to me when you put something in a safe place. But
you know, as a sidebar, talking about your script, I heard through the grapevine that you have a copy of the original John DeVikis Stay Puft sketch, where he's walking over the city skylines there, and you can see the bay, and there's fire and brimstone.
You know, actually, I may have had that sketch, but there was a group of Ghostbusters enthusiasts. I also had a poster for Ghostbusters 2 that would like stretch across my garage. And this couple came to interview me for a Ghostbusters documentary they did out of Europe.
Sure.
And I gave it to them. Like, they're really sweet people. So here, why don't you guys take this, because I can't put it anywhere. And so yeah. So there's, you know, I said, if I hang on to the scripts, because a lot of times when you're doing a movie, you don't really pose with them a lot, people, because they're your colleagues. So a lot of people would say, you've worked with all these people, how come you don't have pictures with them? And I go, yeah, how come I don't have pictures with them? And then realized it's, you know, these people are your coworkers and your colleagues, so you don't think of it that way. Mm-hmm. But I went in taking my portfolio to apply for work, Billy had said he was going to design a, he said, I'm going in, I've got this idea, concept idea they want me to do, and I'm going to check it out. So Bill got this concept art, and he had this little drawing, and from that drawing, he decided that what he was going to do was he was going to make up his mock-up. Now, I think you guys said you chatted with Bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys already talked with Bill Bryant? So here is his, boy, that just looks a little big. Let me make it a little bit smaller.
We're gonna, yeah, we've chatted with Bill a little bit. Ooh.
So this is his audition mock-up of Stay Puft. Okay, so he saw the drawing, and then he came up. I think I helped him a little bit on this, but not much. I basically came in early and helped him with this, but he came up with the design. He did most of the foam sculpting on it, and this became the daddy of the original Mr. Stay Puft. So that's how it started. And he said, Terry, if you want to come on and be on my team. And I was like, sure, this would be awesome, you know? And that's what we did. And when I went in to apply, Stuart Ziff, who was kind of in charge of everything, he looked through my portfolio and he said, wow, you're a puppeteer. Yeah, I have been for a while. He said, well, if we've got this dog, and do you think that if you were inside manipulating this dog, that you could give it feminine attributes? Well, if you ever get into this situation, anyone who's listening, the answer is yes. I didn't even know what the dog was. I was thinking dog, and then I saw this monster dog, and they said, well, why don't you climb up inside and see what you can do with it? And I did, and he said, okay, I think we're going to make you Sigourney Weaver's dog, and we call it Zuul. And I said, yay, you know. So that's how I landed that job, and just jumped in and did it. You know, it was a very heavy animal, but I had been doing a lot of television and film puppets already, so I knew a lot of people who build puppets weren't puppeteers, which means they were incredibly heavy and not built they were built to last more than they were for comfort and convenience, you know? So that's what happened. So with Mr. Stay Puft, if we want to go back to him, which I don't mind because he's adorable, we ended up building a lot of Mr. Stay Puft. So here's a ton of just tons and tons of him.
Oh,
so
wow.
So you'll see here, I'll kind of indicate if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see this sort of dirty paneled with the little holes on the side. That's the main base of the marshmallow body, and it's done out of L200. And then if you see the very top, pod, that pod has the fireproofing foam on top of it. Below it, you'll see that there is a coating on them right there. That right there, that's fireproofing agent on top of the fireproofing. And then there's a lot of body parts. So you see there's a little bits of arms and legs and whatnot. So that's what we were doing, is we were just making more and more and more of the Marshmallow Man parts. And then what we would do is we would take foam, and I hope this helps, because what we did is we did 3 hero suits. And a hero suit looks like, let me see if I can show you. Here's a hero suit. So this hero suit here is an example of one of the 3. This is our 3/4 back hero suit. And the 3/4 back hero suit means the zipper's in the front. And then we had one where the zipper was exactly in the front. And then we had one with the zipper in the back. That way, whenever the Marshmallow Man shot Billy in the suit, he looked like he was seamless. So that was the idea. And that's what we did. And then we did 18 burning suits.
Whoa.
So
That's a lot of takes.
and that was because you'd set them. Yeah, you'd set one on fire, and then they'd go, not quite. So you'd go, well, we've got another one. We got another one. We got another one. And they just keep.
I think the legend is that each of those suits is like 20 grand. So let's see, we can do the math, like 18 times 20 grand.
It was a lot of
That's a
people
lot.
working very hard, working on stuff. This is a picture, since you guys have talked to a lot of my buddies here. This is Bill Bryant. I'm in the cowboy hat. The guy leaning down is Mark Tyler, and the guy underneath Billy Bryant is Eric Fiedler. So this is Eric Fiedler. We had to be careful with Eric because he's not too tidy with white stuff. So, so we soon, he went on to pyrotechnics, and that was a better spot for him. But what we're doing here is we're stretching foam like you find in your couch, except for the PPI, or pounds per square inch, are a lot more dense. So it's 100 PPI. It stretches very well without tearing. And then you stretch it over to give it that seamless look. So, and this was all Bill's, Bill, putting together what he thought would work. And then there it is, done. So Eric's holding that one up, and I'm holding the other side, holding by the feet, and Eric's holding by the top. And if I zoom in here, you can see the little seams. Those would hide under his little sailor bib.
Yeah.
So all planned, all figured out. And then you just kept doing, building them more and more and more and more and more. Here is Marshmallow Hitler. I have a better picture of him, but you can see here's the suit. The suit that's just above Hitler has got the back, the zipper going up the back, as I described. And then you'll see between them, there's garbage bags. That's because the foam would yellow really quickly. So we had to bundle them up in a black garbage bag to make sure they stayed, super, super Stay Puft white. So,
how heavy would a suit like that be?
There he is. It wasn't very heavy because it's done out of foam, and it's done out of L200. And L200 is great. It's found in knee pads and bicycle helmets. Mm-hmm. It really is a great material. So Bill could really move. And this is the thing that made it so nice. The head was the heaviest part because it's got the cables coming out and everything. Hitler came to be because they decided to make our hours be 7 days a week, and we were really getting tired. So Linda sculpted the face. She was sculpting. She was the sculptor on all the marshmallow faces, and she. I don't know if she was there or she was part of this, but it was getting 7 days goes into 14 days, goes into 21 days, and so we were sort of contemplating our tools and doing really silly stuff. And Hitler was one of them. And then what else? And then this is another thing that we did. We became these turtles. So we were losing brain cells. Okay, we were just like, this is my friend Brett, and he and I were just outside of this area that no one would let us. We had to be in an area separate from everyone because we had white, and we were working in foam, and we were working on all this stuff, and they didn't want us there. So we had a little special shop, and we were, one day we just decided we'd do these silly characters. And then of course this is all on set. So you have Linda and you have Bill and me as he attaches the hat. And then here he is. I don't know if you've seen these pictures. Bill in his marshmallow gear. So his leprechaun green pants, and us just on the, and this is actually the street. You can see the street here, and Mark Stetson, whose shop it was, he did all kinds of cool little vehicles. Like if you saw Body Snatchers, there was a truck on this street that had pods in it, and it said "You're next." And then there was sets and visual arts, all kinds of stuff like that. And then me clowning around because I'm giving Bill air. So I'm making a face. And then here he is in front of green screen. And then Diana, just, you know, hat and whatever. So you can kind of see how all of this is working. And then there he is. That's an actual take. And then in between, the belly was so big, Bill had a library in the stomach. So he'd reach down in the stomach and pull out a book to read while he was waiting in between takes.
That's a great shot of Bill.
It's one of my favorite pictures is Bill just kind of chilling in his suit. So yeah. And then this is I don't know if anybody talked to you about the puppets that we built that are the super stretch. The arms on these are 3 feet long, and it's a half body, and it was for when he reaches and roars up at the Ghostbusters. And they wanted to have this sort of forced perspective, so we made these extending arms. And we had 2 or 3 of those. And then this is after a burning sequence. So
Cool.
That is
a little on the sad side, but there you go. It's just, you know. And then this one you'll like, because this, the Marshmallow Man takes a step when the guys see it and crushes a car. Well, you can't really tell here too well, but in the crosswalk is a squished Linda Frobos, and then we're all squished inside the car. So
that is
we're all,
amazing.
We did Polaroids of us going, you know, all these faces, and then we put ourselves in the set. So that's some of the fun stuff of doing the thing. So it was a lot of fun making Mr. Stay Puft. It was a really cute. And then when I finally saw the movie, I just cracked up, you know, at some of the things that they did practically that were just, you know, it really was some nice effects in that film.
Oh, for sure. I love the little photos there in the set. That's a cool little detail I was unaware of. I like that. I wonder where that ended up all these years.
Yeah, well, I want to try and do that for you. Here we are puppeteering. That's what I did for the face. So this is the cart that's rolled underneath. And it's Diana, myself, I think Mark's in there, and I can't remember. I can't remember the other person, but we're all in there with our monitor. And as Bill walks down the street, his cables are going up through the street, and we're being pushed underneath to make that look. And then this is me standing next to the building of the, you know, Gozer's spot. I really like this building. So it was really tall, as you can see. I'm kind of small and fuzzy down here.
Yeah, it does help you
And there it
appreciate
is
how
up
big
in the,
that set or that scene is, the model they created.
and I don't know if you guys know this much, but they thought they had everything and they blew it up and then realized they needed another shot. So they had to build it again. So, you know, like, okay, do we have everything? Do we have everything? Yes, we have everything. Do we have everything? Yes, we have everything. Okay, wait. And so so it was kind of cool. Richard Edlin was the one who was really overseeing all of this kind of stuff over at the Maxella Studios and in Marina Del Rey, Mark Stenson Studios, et cetera, et cetera. Same place where Greg Gian built the Close Encounters spaceship. So it had a lot of history. It was a very exciting experience to be there. And Richard loved chili. So every Friday he would have a chili cook-off. He would challenge people to bring their chili recipes, and they would all have this cook-off. Well, I'm not much for chili. I can't eat spices. So I took marshmallows and built little marshmallow men. And I was looking for that picture today and couldn't find it. But if I can find it, which is Eric Fiedler and Joe Viscoso, both in pyrotechnics trying to light my marshmallow men. So my little marshmallows they're in the corner trying to light them, and so
So let's get the dirt. Who has the best chili on the Ghostbusters '84 crew? Who made the best
Well,
chili?
it's kind of funny. Richard Edlund just likes hot. So there was no beans, because a lot of these aficionados with chili are like, chili with beans is not chili. And so you had chili with beans versus chili with none. And me just kind of sitting there going, I'll have salad. Thank you very much. And but Richard loved those little, like, they're not peppercorns, but they're kind of like a peppercorn. But when you bite into it, it's like you're done. And he would just like, so it was like, people walking around breathing like dragons. But it was fun because at Maxella, between the area where you had Randy Cook doing the stop motion dog and you had Edlund doing a lot of his stuff, then across the way, they were doing stuff at Stetson Visual Arts. And then we were off campus. We were kind of around and to the back. And also at the same time, they were doing 2010. So there were two shows in the building, and there were these amazing model builders from 2001 who had been brought back to do, like, I think it was, the first name was Dave Beasley, who was just this amazing model builder who had built that long thing from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and there he was again, in there doing all of that lighting and everything. It was just mind blowing to see all of us crawling over like ants doing these characters. So building the Marshmallow Man, building Slimer, because you had Steve Johnson in a corner of that office along with Mark Wilson, and they were building Slimer so that it would fit Mark. And yeah, it was just cool. It was really, really a fun time. It was a fun movie to be a part of.
And so
Absolutely.
They were over there building the suit that you wore, the Terror Dog suit. Now, you have we were talking about this, I think last week when you and I were chatting, but you have the distinction of being in that Terror Dog suit a lot. There was multiple people in the suits, but you kind of owned those suits, right? So,
yeah.
So tell us what
Yes.
scenes you were in the Terror Dog suit and anything associated with that. Tell us about that suit. Did it smell? How was it?
Well, yeah, it's most of the time. I mean, I was Sigourney's dog. Such a rude thing to say. But but anytime it was supposed to be Sigourney Weaver's character, that was me. And they loved having a woman. I mean, if you've seen these pictures, very few women and no women puppeteers but me. So I was very strong, and they were surprised how well I could manipulate this giant foam rubber critter. But he was already built when I got there. I did not build him, but I did fall in love with him. My first scene was in the refrigerator. So I got to do the part where he opens his mouth and says, "Oh," and it was just, it was really, what they did is they cordoned off a part, second unit off at Maxella, and it was a big plywood like pool filled with smoke and dry ice. And then I was below the line, and I would come up, and they would have me just bring him up. Probably about a 30 or 40 pound dog. So, after a while, he's a little tired, but and you would bring him up and like this, and then somebody off camera who could actually see the dog would do the red eyes, firing up and down. A lot of times I think it was Randy Cook, but I couldn't be sure if that was true. Sometimes it was Tim or Ron, Tim Lawrence or Ron Harrison Ray, changes his name. But that was the first scene I did. And then the second scene I did was in the doorway. And the doorway, again, a big fun area, but this time we're on the hero set, and Sigourney Weaver is in the chair, and you have several people who were sculptors and builders and craftspeople who are also the arms that grab her. And it just took forever to shoot this scene because you had 3 guys, they're punching through the chair. And when they punch through the chair, they go, ah, you know.
Somebody asked me last week if I knew the name of the guy who, yeah, you know.
One of them was Steve Neal.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other guys, but they were precious. It was very sweet of them to be so considerate, you know. I remember looking at that and going, "Aw," you know. I just, you know, and Sigourney rolled her eyes and she was just like, "Hey, just grab, you know. I don't want to be here all year." So then they did, and she was able to scream stuff, and then she comes towards me as the dog, and she told me she said, "Oh my gosh, that dog is really scary," and I go, "Yes, isn't he wonderful?" You know, so. So those were the 2 things I got to do, and then I was up with Gozer the Gazarian on the top of the building, where I was in a stunt harness, the kind that clips from several directions. And then I had a pipe that they had sort of, you know, plastered in place. I don't even think they fiberglassed it, but they plastered it in place. I put my feet against it and I'm hanging 40 feet over nothing. So you have the little bucket, but there's nothing below except for Ian, who is piping up the video so I can see what I'm doing. But, you know, 40 stairs, you guys have all seen it. And there I am at the top, making the dog be all scary while there was nothing below. So, you know, when you're young, you're like, I got this. This harness is strong, right? You know, so, and you just made him, you know, you made him growl and roar. And you guys have all seen that picture, I'm sure, of all of us waving to everybody from the scaffolding. I think it's in here somewhere. And that is, I'll show you a couple others real quick here. So here's the Librarian Ghost. I did a little bit of work with Steve on her.
What did you do on the Library Ghost?
Just arms, fingers, you know, puppeteers are interchangeable.
Right.
So as a puppeteer, if they needed someone to wiggle a finger or, you know, to do something of that respect, then and then here's my dog getting ready to go to set.
Wow.
I love that shot so much.
I told you I had some good stuff. You know, you can just kind of make a little shopping list and say, okay, everybody, which one do you want me to, which one, Terry, get me that one now. You know, isn't that fun one? That's a fun one. I like those kind of behind the scene.
Oh yeah, that's history right there.
Those are fun. Yeah, those are fun. Those are really fun. And that is my dog back there. And then my POV of the set. So this is me just seeing that, you know, looking down, and you can see how everybody is filming them. So it's, you know, it's kind of neat because it's got all this fog stuff below. So they're actually in the eerie fog stuff. That's the reason I like that picture, is because you've got all that eerie fog stuff down below. And then this is the one I was talking about where we're all we're all up top, just kind of waving down from the scaffolding. I think I have one. Yeah, here, this one's a little all closer. But
very cool.
But yeah, so tons of all the fun, entertaining. It was a good gig, and it was only my second movie, so it was really, really lovely to you know, be able to be on. Yeah, I didn't know it was a blockbuster at the time. It was another movie.
So on the set, you know, Matt and I, we were talking with Mark about this. That set, we've heard just how massive it was, and if like we could build a time machine, that'd probably be one of our first stops, is like going to see that set. But so it was you and Mark and Harrison and Tim were kind of the 4 folks in 4, not 8, but in those suits. Did you guys spend a lot of time on that set? Was it? I don't know how long you shot that stuff for.
Yeah, in fact, they only shot a month in New York, so it was mostly at the Columbia Studios, which are now the Burbank Studios. Huge soundstage, as you say, huge soundstage. And on the soundstage, you have the apartment where Rick Moranis is talking about the acetaminophen and meets her. and then the whole gatekeeper keymaster was all done there. They had the rooftop on the same set, just another section, and then you had all of the stairs going up to the actual Gozer Gazarian rooftop spot. So it was huge. And then there was a cyclorama that was of New York City that just engulfed and devoured everything. So it was the first set that I got. When I did Dune, I was as small as Sean Young, who played the lead in Dune. And so I went down and did stunt work for her for about a week in Mexico. Hot, icky, disgusting. While she stayed in a trailer, I boiled in a rubber still suit. And so when I got back to Ghostbusters felt very luxurious because, it's around Christmas time, everybody's feeling festive. And I was the newbie on the block. So one of the things that they did was they gave me this jacket that says Terror Dog Terry right here on the front. I should light it. There, that makes it lighter. That makes it better.
Is that a
So
members
it says Terror
only?
Dog Terry right here. And yeah, it's very retro. It's very retro.
Is the
I
logo?
love that
I
jacket.
mean, look at the back, guys. The back is super cool.
West Coast branch.
Oh my God!
That is
Isn't it
so
fun?
cool.
Can I see?
I love that.
the other logo, the smaller patch on the front.
The small patch?
Yeah.
You are welcome to see it. And then if you want me to here it is.
Oh, that is amazing.
Isn't
Wow,
it fun?
That's something.
And I think I'm the only one who has the jacket.
That's super. Cool.
But you have to understand that they were punking me a lot. I believe you. I'm ready to believe you. So they would punk me because I hadn't been on a set before. So there's this game they play with clothespins. Have you ever heard of this game? Where there's the you know what a clothespin is. I'm assuming everybody out there knows what a clothespin is.
Yeah.
But it's a wooden thing. You pinched it when you had a clothesline. You used to hang your clothes on it. Now most people use a thing called a dryer, but at the time we didn't have that. So what the set guys would do is they'd play this game where they would sneak up and try and they'd stand next to you, look around, and then they would try really hard to put this clothespin on your person without you knowing it, okay? And then they'd walk away and they'd giggle. So they'd do this throughout the day. It was just this silly game. Well, at the end of the day, they see me and they just start busting up. They just start busting up. They cannot stop laughing. And I don't understand why. And they go, turn around. And when I turn around, I must have 100 of these things. I look like a porcupine. They're all on my back. They're just there were all kinds of things like that. They just got a kick out of this, excited young, giggly girl who just loved being on the set and just loved being a part of, working with people that she admired and stuff like that. So.
Now, you told me once that you had a couple special experiences with everybody's favorite, Mr. Bill Murray. I was wondering if you would tell us a little bit about your Murray experience. Everyone has a Bill Murray.
My Bill Murray. So many people said that Bill Murray was this curmudgeon, and I do not remember it that way. I remember him being a prankster. He was kind of a stinker, but I didn't think of him as being, I don't know. I didn't think of him as being a curmudgeon. I didn't think he was difficult. I didn't think he was a pain. And then Dan Aykroyd. So I get on the set and I am excited to be on this set. I'm going to meet Bill Murray. Now, I'm really excited to meet Bill Murray because he's done this movie called Caddyshack. And my puppet teacher did the gopher. Okay, so my teacher performed the gopher. So it was one of my favorite movies because my teacher, along with another person that I know real well, they made this gopher come to life. So I was so excited about that I just couldn't wait to talk to Bill Murray about it. So I see Bill Murray, and he looks like he just woke up. Okay, his hair is all disheveled, his shirt is buttons kind of off, and he's kind of asleep. And I go, oh, Bill Murray, my name's Terri Hardin. I'm going to be working on the movie. And he goes, okay, cool. And I said, I know I probably shouldn't say anything, but I want to tell you that I loved you in Caddyshack. And he says, what? And I said, I loved you in Caddyshack. And he's like, Caddyshack? And I say, yeah, the person who taught me puppets, he did the gopher, and you with the gopher, Cinderella story. And I just went this whole thing, just did this whole thing. And he's kind of, okay, Caddyshack. I haven't heard that one in a long time. What do you think about Saturday Night Live? And I said, I don't have a TV. I've never seen Saturday Night Live. And he goes, what? So what? And I was like, Dan, get over here. I met somebody who lives under a rock. And he looks at me. And so Dan Aykroyd came up. And if you've ever seen Laurel and Hardy, all I could think of was Dan Aykroyd looks like Stan Laurel. He just had this little face, and he was smiley, and what? He came over in a motorcycle jacket, and he looked over, and Bill says, we can't have this girl on the set. I'm sorry. She has not seen Saturday Night Live. I cannot tolerate this. I'm sorry. And Dan is, and I'm now it's starting to sink in, and I start to get emotional. I'm like, and Dan sees me my face start to just, and he goes, Terri, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't have a TV. I'm sorry. And he goes, no, you think you're going to get fired? And I'm like, well, aren't I? And he goes, no. But we do have to fix this. And I'm like, well, So Dan Aykroyd picked up one arm. Bill Murray picks up the other arm. My feet are going like this. And they take me out of the soundstage, throw me into one of those little golf carts, and they drive me to a little studio, and they run 3 Saturday Night Lives for you to watch. So imagine, if you will, being like this, and now you're going to watch Saturday Night Live. What do you think is going through your head? Please laugh. Please, God, make me laugh. Please laugh. I gotta laugh, okay? Please make it funny. And luckily it was. But oh my gosh, I was terrified. There's nothing.
That's a lot of pressure.
Sitting and watching. It was, well, you don't know. Does it really matter? Is it really going to matter? But all I knew is that, he was very proud of it. So they showed me cheeseburger, Wild and Crazy Kind of Guys, and my absolute favorite to this day, Land Shark. So when I saw Land Shark, I about fell over the back of the chair, and I got to stay. But it was surreal. It was surreal. These are the kind of things that I think makes Ghostbusters such a wonderful movie, is people, Ivan Reitman and everyone on the set made it a very nice place to work. We had Ernie Hudson, who was just so excited to be on it. And it was great. He was like us mostly. He was like, wow, can you believe we're in a movie about, and you were just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm loving it. So it was more a lot of play, because sometimes you can be in a film where the set is kind of toxic. And so it's not a fun place to work, but Ghostbusters wasn't like that. Ghostbusters was a lot of fun. The only people that would kind of, hi-hat you were the stand-ins. And you would just be like, why are the stand-ins, the people that were, why are they being all snooty? You think the actors are going to be snooty. And then the people that stand in for them, a Gloria C-stand, all of a sudden is like, oh, we just didn't get it. We didn't get it. So it it's the holidays, and Sigourney Weaver, 6'2" in stocking feet, just a very majestic, amazing woman. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, loved her in Alien. And she walked around in this coat that her mom had bought her and sent out from New York. It was that classic red and black checkered material that everyone loves in that style, and it went to the floor. I don't know if her mom had it made or whatever, but it was just stunning to see her in this. And she walked around with a box of cookies that her mom had sent her that she made from New York, and she was offering it to all of us. So she would walk around and go, "Want a cookie? Want a cookie?" So these are the things that I remember, that I enjoyed from Ghostbusters. Ernie always had us over every other weekend. He would try to, and he would have a big barbecue, because he was like a barbecue master. So he was like, let me show you my barbecue. Come on, let me, and you would just get so excited to go over and have a Sunday or a Saturday where you were just, sitting and eating barbecue, like, wow.
I think we need to start a separate section of the group where it's have special foods cooked by Ghostbusters names. So I need Richard Edlund to make some chili, and I need some barbecue from Ernie. Now
Ghostbusters foodies.
Ghostbusters cookbook.
Oh, there you go.
Because he could have some recipe. Everybody kicked in with recipes. You could say the chili. If you could get the people to submit their chili recipes, we easily had 10 to 15 bowls of chili going every end of the month Friday. So it was Richard's plus 14 others. So you could easily have a book on the chili, and then at the back you have Ernie do his barbecue, whatever is cool.
I'm going to ask from now on, every person I talk to who's involved in this film, I'm going to ask who had the best chili and see if there's a consensus.
There you go. Yeah. And me, at the back of the book, I can show you how to make marshmallow men, because I made these little out of marshmallows, and people and decorated a salad. The salad was in a half a planet. Because remember, I told you we did 2010s. I took one of the planets they had filmed for that movie, flipped it over, lined it, and it became the big salad.
Oh,
and the marshmallow
wow.
men were all around in the planet.
That's so cool.
Creative people are pretty wild. And we talked about this mermaid tail. That's where I met Bob Short, who had done Splash. And when I realized he was on the show, I went to him and tried to pick his brain about the mermaid tail. And he said to me, "Forget it, kid. You're not going to be able to do it." And I was like, so of course I had to do it. So, oh yeah, but that was the joy of it. We had 2010 mixing with Ghostbusters, and everybody we had a great time. I'm a huge Brainstorm fan. I love Christopher Walken. And later I got to work with Christopher Walken and got to tell him that he was a lust object for me in Brainstorm. I would just sit and go gaga over him in overalls. And he said, "What do you mean used to be?" And I said, "Well, I'm engaged now. So no more lust objects for me, except for my husband." But but that bicycle that he rides, the recumbent, I had never seen a recumbent. And it was parked where we were building the Marshmallow Man. So I asked if I could ride it, and they said, and Richard was like, "Yeah, go ahead," So I got to ride this bike. I got a piece of that memory tape from the movie, that sparkly stuff. They gave me Richard gave me a piece of that. Just fantastic. So when we went to the screening, and a lot of us were left off the credits, I misunderstood when everybody came out. Nobody was speaking to each other. Nobody was like they were on the set. There was a lot of people that wouldn't talk, and it was a really weird premiere. And I thought, is this the way it is, that you're friends on a movie set and then you're not friends afterwards? I don't understand. And then we had a party on the beach, and Richard Edlund was at the bar having a drink or whatever. And I walked up to him and I said, "Thank you for the opportunity of being in this." And he said, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "For what?" And he said, "A lot of your names were left off of the credits." And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, I had promised everybody to be in the credits. So what had happened is when people didn't see their names up there, they were really upset because they were promised their names would be attached to the film and they weren't. And that's when, Thomas, you sent me this, which I have the actual one somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But you sending me this has allowed me to just, show people that I indeed worked on it. He took this out in Variety as a apology to all of us that got left off. Richard Edlund did that. He got with Variety and he said, there was a loophole in my contract and they cut a bunch of names off. And I'm so sorry because I promised you guys that would not happen. So it was joyful. When you sent me that, I almost cried because I could not find mine. And IMDb, kept saying, your name isn't in the credits, so you can't be in Ghostbusters. And I'm like, have you seen puppeteers before? Name puppeteers other than Henson's that get in the credits, really? Come on. Get real. But yeah, it was great. It just was a great experience, and everybody is so warm and friendly. And Bill Murray was always punking me. He thought I was the most fun to get. So the Terror Dog is up on top of the Gozer Gazarian, rooftop set. So I would grab my lunch and I would climb up into my dog and I would ask Ian, who was the video guy, if he would pipe in All My Children so that I could sit in my dog and eat my lunch and watch All My Children. All My Children being a soap opera that at the time had Luke and Laura, and Luke and Laura were fighting the evil Cassadines who had developed this weather-making machine, and this was the time when they were going to either freeze the world or not freeze the world. Luke and Laura were going to fix this, and as luck would have it, my lunch was 12-1. So Ian says, no problem. So he pipes, he hits the thing, he works it out so that I have my All My Children in there, and I'm sitting in my dog. Well, when you're not inside the puppet making it roar like this is how you make it roar. There's the marble set part, and then there's a gap under the belly of the dog because it's my pulling it down that makes it seal. Otherwise it does this, right? So Bill is walking down at the bottom, whatever he's doing, and he looks up and he sees this light coming out from under the belly of the dog. He's like, so he sneaks up all of these stairs. He tiptoes as painstakingly as he can, and he peeks in that space, and there I am, watching, just in deep, enraptured with this. It's good, will they do it, and I know him. I know he must have pulled back, went, and so he leaned in really close to the space and he went, "Ooh!" And the dog went, "Ah!" like this. And then he went, "Ah!" And I said, I'm gonna get you, Bill. But that was the kind of stuff he would pull on me all the time. So I think that's why I got the jacket, because I was just a good sport about everything. I don't know. And they knew I'd really love it. I cried when I got it.
Yeah, that's super amazing. I think you told me maybe Richard gave it to you, one of the little statue dogs from the
oh,
right?
This guy.
Oh, that's this guy just hanging out.
This is him. So this is one off of the this is the doesn't he look like a bird? But anyway, this is the one that's off of that building I showed you.
Yeah.
And here is the one, I can't remember who made it, but somebody sent me this one. So this is my dog, the way it like really looks.
Yeah.
And then this is the one.
They made the one off the set. They made one of those too. Looks pretty close. That's super.
Oh, did they? How cool. I love having this one. This one is really fun to have, and somebody sent it to me, and I was like, this is so nice of you to do this. People are always sending me like my characters. Look what I got for Christmas.
Oh, look at that guy. He's so cute.
Isn't he the cutest little guy? I think he rivals the child, honestly. A lot of
Yeah.
people love the child, but I think he's cuter. So I just fell in love with it. And he sits over here on my microphone. He just sits and stares at me
This
all
is
day.
Diamond.
Somebody else got me this, the ornament, the Christmas ornament. I'm sure you guys have this one. It has magic features sound, but I didn't think to put anything in it, but I just thought that was awful nice of them to give me this little guy here. So it just something.
See, I don't have that one yet.
Look at it. You go,
I'm going to have to go to Hallmark.
you don't have this one?
Nope, not yet. I'm
Yeah,
about
this
to.
one is, and then I signed the back of it.
Nice.
So I'm not quite sure why I signed the back of it when I knew I was going to keep it, but let me see. Yeah, so I haven't put the batteries. See, here's the little batteries. So I didn't even put the batteries in because I didn't want it to get, let's see what, 2012.
Oh wow.
So this one is from 2012.
Good luck, Matt.
Old stuff, you know, little old. Should just send it to you, Matt. Give me your address later. We'll just send it to you.
There we go.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, this dog, yeah, I really like this guy. He's made out of two-part. This is what they made the building out of. It's a two-part. You mix it together, it expands. And I think the reason they gave this to me is because right here, this wasn't one they could use because his jaw is actually busted. It should come all the way out, as you know. But they gave it to me, but I'd still. Can you imagine I still have this since, my goodness, 1984. He's holding up pretty well.
Yeah. That is so cool.
My little old geezer right here. But yeah, yes, indeed. So there he is. And I love Ghostbusters so much. Whenever I'm doing an appearance, people are bringing me Ecto-1s to sign. People are bringing me stuffed marshmallow men to sign, dogs that they've built. They make them out of baby buggies. I mean, this is a movie that was released in 1984, and I'm seeing kids that weren't even born that are recreating and enacting these characters. In fact, a 7-year-old fan did this for me for Christmas.
Nice.
So I just love this. I think this is just so sweet.
That's great.
But a friend of mine, I have a Patreon page, a membership page where you can kind of visit with me and whatever. And it's called Terry's Tribe. One of my tribe members said, I've got this little kid. He loves Ghostbusters. Will you send him a picture? So I pulled out one with me and the dog and signed it and sent it to him. And I guess he just went nuts. So he drew that for me as a thank you. And just, you know, you're just blown away. I'm just blown away by how many people are just love this film. And I'm glad that they do. Whole group from Germany.
Oh,
Huge
yeah.
Yeah, we know
We
that.
are
They're in our
Ghostbusters
group.
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And they just posted the video that you took for them when you signed the picture. They posted that in our group, and I thought that was super cool. Super cool.
They were just really good people, and they were so worried that the envelope was never going to make it to me. And so I said, well, not only am I going to do this, we're going to do a video of me signing so that they have this, they can share it whenever they want. And they were just beside themselves when they got it. They just were like, oh my God. And you know, how many people I worked so hard to be in a film and a TV show, et cetera, that went more than like a pilot. So when it finally happened, I didn't take it for granted. I wanted to make sure that anybody and everybody who wanted something could have it if they wanted it. So yeah, it's an honor. It was an honor to be a part of it.
Well, I was going to ask or kind of switch gears if that's okay, because when I think of Terri
Yes.
Hardin, I think of Ghostbusters. Obviously, Tom and I have been fans for so long, but I think of the legendary Disney Imagineer, and I'm a pass holder out here at Walt Disney World, so I'm there all the time. And I was just hoping we could chat a little Disney.
Of course you can chat a little Disney. I was 4 years old when I was introduced to Disneyland. My mother thought it would be a great idea to take me to meet Captain Hook. Really? Are you kidding? What's wrong with parents when they take you to meet the bad guy? So I kicked the crap out of this poor fool. You know, trying to get away. I know what Captain Hook does. Come on. And my mom is like, oh, take a picture. It's Captain. So I was like, I can't even believe that, as a kid. So, I almost got thrown out of the park screaming and carrying on, But here is what I was hired to do, this is the Dragon's Lair in Paris. And here's my dragon. And I actually was hired to do the entire show. And they don't do this. They do not, Disney does not usually give this for women to do. And they usually don't let one person do an entire attraction. And not only did I get to do that entire attraction in Paris, but I got to do Big Thunder Mountain almost single-handedly with one other guy. There were just two of us. And it was because we were really stretched thin. And we had to do it really fast. That's how I actually eventually got into Imagineering. But I worked really hard. I had so many rejection letters you could wallpaper my 1,500 square foot house. The mouse was, and you would just be like, I hate that mouse. You're not worthy. No, thank you. Get lost. And I was like, everybody else likes me and the mouse doesn't. No, no. And you were just like, But one day, I was working in a little shop called Shafton's where you make walk around costumes of Charlie Tuna, of McGruff the Crime Dog, Smokey the Bear, and everything. And a guy walked in and he said, Terri, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, I'm doing a water bottle for the Water and Power. What? And he said, and I said, waiting to tell Disney to get a clue and hire me. And he goes, well, I'm working there now. You want me to put in a word for you? And next thing you know, I'm walking up with my portfolio and talking to them about, their statement, and I quote, was, where have you been? Wow, this is amazing. Where have you been? And I said, stupid me. I've been knocking at the front door. I had no idea I had to go in the back. So, so in Walt Disney World, I did the boat. So I didn't design the boat, but the rabbit on the front and the texture on the Splash Mountain boat is all me. I designed the texture on that boat and I built that rabbit. And so that's my claim to fame for Florida.
Now that is a ride. If I'm being honest with you, Terri, it's not one of my favorites. Like I love the nostalgia behind it, but I don't do drops very well. And so as you can imagine, there's quite a few in there. But we love Splash Mountain, and I'll tough it out for the kids. But it's a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm that way. You cannot drop me, like drop. Mm-mm. So I'm not real good with Tower of Terror. But back in the day, and I think I have it here. I should see if I could show you because it is rather humorous. Back in the day, I'm gonna see if I have it here. I have to look a little bit. My hair. Okay, here's my hair. You guys are gonna really love this. Ready? There's my hair. All my hair. That comes from being half black and half white, mixed races. I've got my dad's hair. So you could mold this hair into different shapes. So when they were designing the very first Tower of Terror, I combed it so that it all went up like Don King. And then they mocked up a booth for Tower of Terror. And they called me up. I was in the sculpture department. They go, Terry, come over here. We need your help. And I went in the model shop and they made it out of foam core. You know, that paper with the little foam in the middle that you build. So they had done this giant mock-up of the vehicle that was going to be dropping people. And they said, Terry, we need to put you right here. And they combed my hair. And then they shot pictures of me going, so that it looked like I was dropping. So
That's fantastic.
That's funny.
So all kinds of crazy stuff like that happened at Imagineering. Imagineering was one of those places. Tony Baxter, who's the senior VP of Imagineering, he was the one who said to me that I actually was there during the best time of Imagineering. And I kept thinking, well, Imagineering is the best time would be when Walt was alive. And he was like, nope, not true. It was when we were doing Paris, we were getting ready to do Tokyo, we were thinking about Hong Kong. It was just, everybody was happy, having fun, doing crazy stuff. And we were just creating out of, I had to fight for Dragon's Lair. I was doing Big Thunder. And I found out that Dragon's Lair was going to be just this stone dragon that people were going to walk by. And I was like, are you kidding me? What do you mean it's a stone dragon? We're not going to animate it? And my boss was like, no. But we're not Magic Mountain, we're Disney. Why are we doing this? And he was like, look, don't preach to me. So I had to actually pitch it. And when I was pitching it to Tony Baxter, he said, one condition. I said, what? He said, you design it. And I went, I had never done it. But I was like, okay. And to this day, I'm super proud of it. Just really, really just love it because I love dragons. So it was a dream come true. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask something about, it's in the Disney family. Matt doesn't know this bit, but Matt and I met because of Star Wars. That's how we became friends.
No, really?
Yes. And then we decided, or we discovered that we have this mutual love for Ghostbusters. But I know that, Terry, you are probably, I don't know what, world's biggest Star Wars fan?
Star Wars fruitcake. Went mad for it. So when did you guys first see Star Wars? Because you're both young. So it wasn't 77, was it?
No.
I saw it before the digital remaster in 95, so I probably saw it in 1990, 1989, somewhere in there. 89.
It would have been the 90s, and my dad had a membership to Columbia House, and so we had VHSs sent to the house, and I just went through, and then I would just wear them out.
But I just.
What was it like when you first saw it? What was it like when you first saw Star Wars? I'll tell you what it was like in 77, but tell me what it was like to see it in the 90s when you first, because you guys saw other things before Star Wars, right? You saw, because what happened in 77 was Star Wars came out, then shortly after Star Wars, oh, look at that, it's awesome.
So
Close Encounter,
this
Alien.
is my grandmother's copy. The first one I ever saw.
Love it.
My grandma gave it to me. She's 92 years old. She gave this to me, the first copy I ever watched.
That is cool.
That is adorable. That is adorable. But yes, for me, it was 1975 and 76, and I had just graduated high school and getting ready to go to college, and I was up to here in love stories. I was sick of love stories. The Way We Were, Love Story, wah, wah, wah. I was so hungry, like so many, for some decent science fiction. And all I had was the original Star Treks, which I wore out like that VHS. We didn't have DVDs. We didn't have VHS, but it would go on reruns, and I would just eat consume as much of Star Trek as I could. Then you had a show called Space 1999, and 2001: A Space Odyssey that quite honestly was better than Sominex, than putting you to sleep. So it was really cool ships and everything, but I mean, to this day, if I want to go to sleep, this is my film. You've got characters like Hal. What's going on, Dave? You know, that you're just like, you know. So I really wanted, I wanted fantasy, science fiction. Give me some dragons, giving me something. I was drawing all this stuff, and there was nothing. And I'm in college, and I meet this group of misfits of science, people that don't do sports, people that are constantly creating and writing and in little groups, and we're bullied and we're picked on because we're not cheerleaders and football stars. We are in the corner doing something like splitting the atom or something. So we're not doing that. So one of the people said, you know, have you heard about this Star Wars? And I said, no. And he said, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's all science fiction, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, when is this coming out? So we cut class to go see it at the Chinese theater. We're going to go. We went first thing in the morning, walked right into the Chinese theater. There was nobody. First show, nobody. Walked in, and for me, the room went like this when I saw it. I absolutely lost my mind. I will never forget that day as long as I live, because I had created costumes since I was 7. I had been making a lot of money as an artist since I was 8. Here I am now being told that I'm probably am doing a hobby, and when am I going to settle down and get a real job? And right there on the screen was my work, was everything I had ever built, ever created. There it was. And I just went, and I wanted to see it again. And I tried to come back that night, and you couldn't get in. So for 7 days, I would go pay in the beginning, and I would sneak into the bathroom and stay all day. So in 7 days, I had seen the movie 64 times.
Wow.
And then I flew to London for 3 months. So I had planned this trip to London with my friends, and here was this movie I could not get enough of, and I wanted to get as much of it as I could to commit it. And the way I snuck into the theater, the way I managed to not be seen, is I took this giant bag with me, and I changed my hair, I changed my clothes, I changed everything, waited till the crowds came in, slipped into the crowds, and slipped into a seat, and would just watch it over and over. And I was writing down every name in the credits, because there was no Google or internet. I wanted to be a part of these films, and it changed my life. Then I go over to London, and they don't have it yet. They don't get it till October. So I'm a crazy book person. I'm crazy. I love books. I have the original Star Wars books. I got all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, oh my gosh. So I go to this bookstore, and the guy is so nice to me. And I go, you know, it's like a movie. This is like a movie. Come here. Let me tell you something. And the guy is like, what? And I go, I got a tip for you. And the guy is like, what? I got a tip for you. Okay. And I spin my backpack around, and it's got the Hildebrandt Brothers patch on it. This movie right here, Star Wars, big, huge. It is now July. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to get anything and everything you can get your hands on before October 7th, when this drops in here in London. You can listen to me or not. But before I left the US, I saw it 67 times, and it was only out a week. And he was like, so I get back on a plane, and my friend and I have a car. Let me show you a few things that I did. I told you I'm a costume builder. I figure out a way to build a costume. This is my Wookiee.
Wow.
This is at LA Valley College. Back in the day when they didn't have books that showed you how to do these, I went down to what we call here Little Tokyo, and I sent away for Japanese star logs because in Japan there was no copyright. So I knew I could get everything Star Wars because they had I know the Japanese, they took up, like, they will dissect everything. They're just like me. So I said, oh, perfect. So I have all these beautiful star logs. I think I still have them. And I used that to do my Wookiee character. And then while in the studio, while I was sitting there, I did sketches. I did the Stormtrooper.
Wow.
And then I did Luke.
Those are great.
And I don't know if I had, I was obsessed. This movie was in my blood. I said to myself, oh my goodness, this movie is life-changing for me. This movie is going to be the difference. But wait for it. Then I see Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much time you got, but Empire Strikes Back, I stood in line for 3 days for that one. And because there was no internet to buy a ticket. So I wanted the first ticket because I had seen this movie, Star Wars, 181 times. So at the theater, because there is no VHS. There is nothing like that. So I have to see it in the theater. I get caught on my 70th viewing. I get caught and called on the carpet at the Chinese theater. Young lady, you've been cheating. I know, I'm sorry. Why are you going to this movie? And what are you doing? And I go, well, I'm sorry, I can't afford it, but it's life-changing for me. And I just got to do this. And he's like, And he says, well, what do you got to do? So I open the bag, I pull out my sketches, I hand them to him. I show him this list. I have written down every name from the credits, handwritten, every name. I go, this guy, one of these guys is going to get me in the film industry. This is my ticket right here. And the guy's like, wow, kid, whoa. And he says, okay. My hair is out like you saw it. So that was very interesting. And he says, okay, I'll give you free pass for you and a friend. But on your 100th viewing, I want to speak of it on the news. And I said, okay. So my 100th viewing, one of my first experiences with the news people who cut out all of my intelligence stuff. And I looked just like some nut with, I've seen it 100 times, And so then I was going to conventions. One of the biggest conventions back then was Doug Wright. And I was competing there. And I actually, oh my goodness, there was just, so I decide I do this Wookiee and I go, I really want to win though. I really want to make something really cool. So I stand in line for a long time. We'll skip over that. That's a whole new story, whole new fun thing. That was amazing. I did get my ticket. Coast to coast in the newspaper. I had mentioned that I collect the one sheets, and I had hundreds of thousands of one sheets that I sold in 2007 and took my husband to Japan for a month on what I made.
Wow.
So just so you know, your collections mean a lot. But this is the character that I portrayed after seeing Empire. This is A New Hope. I built the hat, the suit, everything I built, including the gun belt, the boots, everything. And Yoda.
Wow.
Ooh, you have a lightsaber.
So I sculpted Yoda. Yoda was sculpted with a pair of scissors. Fiskars to be exact. And yeah, I did this Yoda, and then let me show you. This is another thing that's really cool. So here is Yoda. Okay, so here I am with Yoda. Everybody went crazy for this character. And here I am as a New Hope, just posing real quick. Now, this is a book. I don't know if you guys know about this book, called A Galaxy All Their Own. A Galaxy All Their Own was the LA Times put this book out in 2015. You can probably still get it. Okay. And right here is me after 3 days of standing in line at the Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
And then here I am showing me with the Channel 7. People are asking why this crazy girl has stood there for 3 consecutive days waiting to get the ticket. It's a 3.5. There I am with just, it's a spread inside this book that that is all my story, is as the Times remembers it. Okay, the Times remembers it the way they remember it. But it was pretty awesome, and I have a warm, so always a Star Wars fan. So last year, 2019, Terry got to go to Hoth.
Wow, look at you with the jacket.
Isn't that the coolest thing ever?
Yeah, you look good. That's so cool.
I'm like a total squid. It is not, I mean, you know, if anybody teases you about what you love, just tell them what's their favorite sports team, and 9 times out of 10, and then say, shut up. Okay? Because everybody collects something. I just don't do sports, but Star Wars is my jam. I'm all about this movie. I love this movie. And my husband got me this jacket, and I just got really, really emotional. But this is where they shot Hoth. This is cool. Planet Hoth in Norway. And I'm like, I can't even breathe. And the guy on the train was laughing his butt off. He thought this was the funniest thing he had ever seen, was this crazy girl. She's all in the jacket, and she's, you know, there I am. And there, you know, I want to go back and actually be on there. I want to actually go to the park where that is. But
so
yeah.
then when fast forward a little bit to Ghostbusters, when John Berg is on scene, are you freaking out and Star Wars nerding out with John Berg? Or
not as much as in 1985 when I did Captain EO with Michael Jackson and met George Lucas.
Ooh, yeah. I can only, that's like a cousin of Star Wars. I feel like they're somehow related. It
just full circle. In fact, before the pandemic, I was supposed to talk at Lucasfilm about having gone full circle, where I'm a young girl who wants nothing more than to be a part of the film industry, sculpting and designing using her quirkiness to create. And then I've created, and now there I am sitting opposite George Lucas, and I'm actually in his book Skywalking. So I'm on page 3, and they're talking about this crazy girl that's seen this movie 181 times. And at the time, Lucas was probably like, oh, she's got to be a weirdo. You know, she's got to be a weirdo. And so when I walked up and saw him, I said, I'm Terri Hardin, and I just waited. And I said, Star Wars 181 times. And I sat down and I said, you know, all of this that you've seen me do is your fault. You know, that young kid sitting in that theater seat saying, I got to do this, you know. So this year I'm going to write a book. Finally, people are begging me to write this book about my Star Wars history, which is insane. Create the stuff that I went through to be a part of this movie. I loved it so much. And then I finally got the chance to apply for a job. And then one of those snarky people that you just love said, well, she's seen the movie 181 times. And sometimes in shops they go, fan, eek, ugh. So they almost didn't hire me. But I said, you need to hire me because no one knows this movie better than anybody. I know this film. And I'm just like anyone who loves something that's a movie or Disney or whatever, I'm very protective of the brand. And I absolutely hated 1, 2, and 3. They make me that I don't ever want to discuss them. I want to pretend they never existed. And then I was excited to think that there was another movie coming out, and 7, 8, and 9 all suck. So now I'm like, thanks, Disney, just keep abusing me. And then I see The Mandalorian season 1 and I'm crying because I think it's so amazing. And then I see season 2. Have you guys seen season 2?
Oh yeah. I cried.
Okay, you both have seen season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait for it. I hated the ending. I hated I hated it.
Because the
Did I say that strong enough? So when I saw the green lightsaber, I was like, no, please, God, no. And then that really crappy CG, and I went, you sold out. And this is my family, so my opinion, but I was so upset. I have so many fans and friends that are excited about it. But I said there should be a meme created that goes on the back of that says, I see dead people. Because I'm sick of seeing dead people. I'm just, what? You don't have enough money, Mark? That now you want your young face pasted on another actor? It's no. There are so many wonderful stories. This artist in 1977 realized she could sculpt, she could paint, she could create anything she wanted to because this movie gave her permission. There were also writers, directors, all kinds of different people who created things like the Clone Wars. And they were fresh, innovative, creative, new. You really don't have to overwork yourself. You could have just hired any of them and had some great content. There's no reason to keep resurrecting these dead people. Please let sleeping dogs lie, because it's just not necessary. There's so many. I will say, I got to tell you, I loved when I saw the Flying Iron because I knew it was Boba Fett's ship. Cool dude, stupid ship. So the Iron from the 1930s, it's like, poor fella. Now he has done some things to it in The Mandalorian, so that ship is now pretty cool. But at the time, I kept thinking, poor Boba Fett, he's got the dumbest ship in the galaxy looking ship. And and now he's back, and I cheered. So I'm not saying that The Mandalorian doesn't have gems in it, just wonderful, wonderful nuggets, and the best storyline to date. Just someone who I feel like Favreau was probably a few seats down from me, during Empire Strikes Back, and was affected like you guys were affected, and that it changed his life like it changed my life, and he wanted to bring that back to all of us. He wanted, and he protected the brand. So it that ending was not mine, but that's okay. There's hundreds of thousands of other people who absolutely loved it. And, you can't please everybody. So, but not the green lightsaber, please.
I liked the green lightsaber because it gave me, like, when they sold Lucasfilm to Disney and they're like, we're doing episode 7, the first thing I said was to my buddy, I said, I can't wait until Entertainment Weekly has a picture of old Mark Hamill with the green lightsaber that says Return of the Jedi. Because I was like, that's what's going to happen. And then we never got that. So to see badass Luke, even for a minute, was nice. Although I'm going to give you this. That CG was like some of the worst I've ever seen. Like, I love Mark, but just recast the guy at this point. You know what I mean? There's
exactly. Please.
Yeah.
Just someone who has, one of the things about Mark Hamill was he was never the best actor live. Okay. But one of the things that Mark could do that no other actor could do was that farm boy vacant look. Like through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely precious and adorable. You fall in love with Mark right away. He's got that puppy, the whole movie, is like that. And he's absolutely wonderful. We love him just as much as we love, Harrison Ford and every single person in there. But like you say, it's time to recast. Don't inundate me with this junky CG stuff, you know, because it's just
it's
not
it's super crazy too, because if you watch like the Marvel movies, the de-aging that they do in those is really believable in most cases, and it looks great, but it's like every time they've done it in a Lucasfilm project, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Like Carrie in Rogue One, or even worse in Rise of Skywalker too. But
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not much of a Marvel person, but Captain America,
yeah.
I remember when my husband told me that was done by computer. What they did to that actor was CG. I couldn't believe it. What? It was like, he's not really that skinny? No. Wow. Okay, that's cool. You know, but you're absolutely right. It's like, I don't know. I just don't think you need it, because Star Wars is here. There's so many other worlds. And one of the things my husband told me was that they are doing like The Mandalorian, which is to start to spin off other characters and other stories and stuff. And that's what I want. I want to see what else I can look at. I love those, you know, I love those 3 films. I'm always going to love 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 changed my life. But I love now seeing things like The Mandalorian, the new creatures and strong women characters. Oh my gosh. I just love, I don't remember her name. I've only seen this series one time, but the one that has the big gun,
yeah,
that talks about how she actually, for real, because she's MMA or whatever, she actually picked up the Mandalorian, drags him in season 1. Everybody was like, whoa. And she just reminds me of Vasquez from Alien, who was another favorite character, just really a tough, you know, dyed in the wool. And this is what Mandalorian has. They have these tough women, female characters, and you have these tough male characters, and you have these tough alien characters. And it's just great to have these amazing characters that are not wussy. I mean, even Grogu or whatever his name is a badass.
Yeah.
You know, the baby is a badass.
Yeah.
You know, so you're like, from the baby all the way up, you've got nothing but tough, with the exception of the poor stormtroopers, who might as well be wearing a red shirt. Just put them in the red shirt, poor guys, because they just still can't hit the broadside of a barn, bless them. But we love them. It's just, we feel so sorry for them.
So, Terry, you and I, we spoke a few weeks ago, and the reason I wanted to ask about Star Wars is because I know you and I, we've talked at length, and I know Star Wars changed your life. You made a request of me when we spoke. You said that you wanted to hear about how Ghostbusters changed our lives. So
absolutely, I do.
So just indulge us for a moment, because Ghostbusters did, and this is going to tie back in a really fun way. But I'm going to share a couple photos.
Yay! This is awesome.
Give me 1 second here.
Thank you for this. This is wonderful.
Well,
I was hoping you were going here.
I just got to figure it out, because it worked earlier, but now it doesn't want to work. Hold on. So I was born in 1984. I was a month after the movie opened, so I was born in July.
Wow.
So you're older than me. That's cool. Because I'm a November.
And I gotta share my desktop, I guess.
And you were November 84?
Correct. Yep.
So.
Oh, look.
So this is me getting my first proton pack, probably.
Look at that.
In 87 maybe. So Ghostbusters was always a big thing for me. I've told this story a lot, like when people ask me about, you know, Ghostbusters and wearing the outfit and stuff, I tell them, well,
you are so happy and cute in that picture.
So this is me in my first flight suit in kindergarten. So as
I remember that
did
one.
Somebody tell you? Yeah. Did somebody take your proton?
Yeah, here.
You are not happy there.
Here's me wielding my first proton pack. right here back in,
Oh,
this looks like,
look at that.
It's upside down. Look at you, Tom.
I know, right? So it's been a long, since as long as I can remember, I've been a fan of this series. And then it ultimately, turned into me building my own proton pack and wearing the real flight suit. This is me at Sony Pictures in 2016. That's the actual Ecto one that I got to touch, which was a really
wonderful,
a big moment in my life.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite photos here. Sigourney Weaver, I had the opportunity to meet her. She asked me, when I wore the flight suit, it has the Spengler name tag on it. And Harold passed away probably a month and a half before. And like, thank you for doing this. And I gave her one of these little pins, and she agreed to pose in a goofy way for my little photo up here. But
and your face is perfect.
I know, right?
Your expression is perfect there.
So what's interesting, though, Terry, is I didn't realize until we started chatting today, but you and you do not remember this, I assure you, but you're the first. You started this whole thing, basically, that me and Matt are doing right now, because you are the first person that I met from Ghostbusters that wasn't Dan Aykroyd. So I met Dan Aykroyd, and then the next person I met from the film was Terri Hardin in 2015 at D23. I went to D23 for the first. I went to D23 because I wanted the Force Awakens poster they gave away, but I was there on Sunday and they gave it away on Saturday, and I was walking through and there were these tables, and we had like Leslie Ann Warren and I think Ed Asner maybe, and then I see Stay Puft, and I'm drawn to Stay Puft. And I see this table, and it was you, and you had the photos of Stay Puft, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought it was Billy Bryant, and I had no idea. I hadn't, at that point in my life 5 years ago, I didn't know any of this stuff. And you and I spoke for quite some time about Stay Puft and about your work, and then shortly thereafter, I met Mark and then Billy and Steve, and like that, you really kicked off this journey of what we do is to shine the light on the folks who aren't named Bill Murray or named Dan Aykroyd, who are so critical and so important to this movie that means more to us than we could ever express. And so it's almost like coming full circle for me, because like now I'm talking to you for this big thing, and it's super awesome.
I love it, and thank you for saying that. I often feel I love films. I'm not much for, I like music. I dance to music, but I can't have music because it makes me move too much. So I'm really about film, and I love film and story. And I will tell you that the favorite thing that I like about film is not the lead characters, but those that surround those leads. Okay. I like the salt and pepper. So you got your main ingredient, your main actors, and then you've got the salt and pepper people that really make the movie delicious. And so I love what you said here, Thomas, is that this is what we are. We are the seasoning. You've got your main guys, but what's really fun is to chat with those who are the scenery, the seasoning. So in Mandalorian, one of my favorite characters of all is played by my friend Misty Rojas.
Oh.
She plays the character that
Queel?
That annoying.
Queel, the voice by Nick Nolte.
He was riding the tadpole thing.
Yeah.
I love the tadpole thing. I'm like, gotta sculpt that tadpole thing. Love that thing. Well, she's riding him. Then we are visiting for the reunion of I think it was a Ghostbusters. Was it Ghostbusters reunion? No. It was a dinosaurs reunion and a country bears reunion. That's where I knew Misty, and she was telling me she was doing the Mandalorian, and I said, which character? And she said, see if you can pick me out. And the minute I saw this character, I said, oh my god, best character in the whole thing. Season 1 was that character. I was so sorry to see it, but But the point is, are these crazy people that create the side stuff that make the actors look really good, whether we're creating silly costumes or doing puppets or whatever. Yeah.
I totally
so
agree.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
it's the fun part for us. It's not, we don't want to be the lead, okay? Because the lead is boring. You know, the Mandalorian, I mean, the poor fella, you know, the actor's all ticked off because he wants to take his helmet off. I mean, he does it again, I'm going to pop him a good one. So he better not take it off anymore. Stop it. If you want, you know, you've got other shows. Show your face at other shows, not the Mandalorian. You know, season 2, you know, I remember they said, if you take it off, you can't put it back on. And all of a sudden he's doing it, you know, and I'm like, where'd that rule go? I don't like when that happens. But anyway, he just needs to leave it on, no touchy, and go be in another movie. He's, you know, and just be that character. But can you imagine if you actually got to be the Mandalorian? You walk around with a stick and the whole time, you shoot a little bit, but you've got all these cool, amazing characters around you that are so amazing. You're like, look at that one. Oh my gosh, look at that one. You know, that I, you know, right down to the guys, the woman who was with Moff, whatever his name, and she's like, so, you know, and you're just like, come on, these are great characters. So anyone that's on the sidelines are the ones that I like. The woman who's like, you know, he doesn't like droids. Don't touch that. He doesn't like droids. Get away. You know, just these great characters that are just, who doesn't want to be one of those? You know, so.
Oh, I agree. Going back to seeing A New Hope for the first time, and even to this day when I watch it, there is nothing better than that first time they walk into the cantina and you see all these aliens and species and creatures, and it just makes me appreciate guys like Rick Baker, Rob Bottin, and all these individuals who brought these creatures to life. To me, that's far more fascinating than
well,
like
you know, he had no budget, so that was Rick Baker's, like that's like Rick Baker's garage. Rick, come on, what do you got? Let me look.
Yeah.
How will this work? How about this? Will this work? You know, these are the beautiful things about Star Wars. You know, George Lucas, who went knocking on doors and pitching until he was blue in the face. You know, one more, please. Please, this one. I believe in this. I believe in this. And then Alan Ladd Jr. says, okay, I'll give you a couple bucks. So little that he had to give these actors points. Oh, and I mean, you should have seen the studios when that movie not only changed the way people looked at films, but the way people looked at fashion, television, commercial, cars. It changed the world. And Universal, who had produced other films by George Lucas, said no. To this day, they probably have a big boot kicking machine that every time they hear the word Star Wars, they kick themselves in the, you know, because I mean, that's the success, man.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing in the world, is to see how well that movie's done and everything. Okay, so you, Thomas, this does this for you. So now you're a kid and you have this cute little thing. When did you build? When did you transform into the actual guy?
11 years ago, I built my first pack out of balsa wood and yard sale signs, the plastic ones you buy at Home Depot, and plaster, blood, sweat, tears, and I wore that for a number of years, and then I upgraded to a shell. So you can't see it, but right here, I have a nice glass case which has my full fiberglass proton pack now. It hurts my back to wear it, so I don't know that I'll be wearing it anytime soon. But last year was the last time. Maddie flew out from Florida, and we were invited to Culver City, and we went to the Ghostbusters Fan Fest event, and we had the flight suits on all day. We almost died from heat stroke, but it was pretty incredible. And we had started this group shortly thereafter. Matt had been championing the idea for it wouldn't have happened. This group, if Matt tomorrow says I'm done, the group's over. It's all because of him. But he wanted to do it, and we finally decided to bring the collectors together and have signings with our friends. Spend time with you and Mark and Jim and all of our friends who are so generous with their time to put up with us and our nerdy obsession. But
so we need to do a class where I teach you how to do a light version of the proton pack, so you
that'd be amazing,
and it doesn't hurt your back.
Yeah, I would love that, because unlike Tom,
Yeah.
I have not built one yet, so this would be great.
I mean, and it will look like it is heavy because it's going to be the way you decorate it, paint it. It's going to look heavy. But then when you have someone take it and put it on, they're going to be like totally blown away. They're going to be like, I wonder if I can change my camera 3. You can't really see it.
You got a studio. I love it.
I know, it's so professional.
Thank you. My studio is crazy. Thank you for, you don't know how wonderful. I just did this year, and that's my husband doing that. But I'm trying to see if I can work it out. I'll have to show you guys, but I went to a thing called Monster Palooza, and I did Hella's helmet.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually hanging over here. And I did Hella's helmet, and from Ragnarok, that spidery thing, right? The only reason I built it is because I saw a woman who made it out of wood, and I was afraid she was going to snap her neck. It looked like one of the heaviest headdresses I had ever seen. And so when she came over to see me at my table, I said, I want you to try something on. And she took this off, okay? And I said, here, try this one. And I tossed it at her. And she put it on, and she's like, holy crap. Would you like to know how to do that?
Well.
You can do so much more if you do it to protect. So you can keep the one you did that is beautiful out of all these heavier parts. But, now you could wear this one, and you could wear it forever. You can, you can get it to where you want, do whatever you want, and it's lighter. So honestly, if you get to the point where if we have to do it here, I'll set something up and show you how to do it. But if not, then we have a date, you and your team who wants to build one, or, maybe it's an elite group that you put together or whatever. But
I think people would like that a lot, actually.
There's a lot.
Because
I'll tell you.
Ernie told us about the packs that they had, the stunt packs, which were made of foam, I assume, or rubber on the original film, and how painful it is to wear these as we can experience, but also how delightful it was to wear the light ones. And he seemed to prefer those.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and they look, the thing that's so crazy is they look the same. You can make them look the same with the way that you texture and you decorate it and you lightly cover it.
Sure.
So in the opening of Ghostbusters, when the stone dog the paw cracks through, that is a soft foam, carvable foam, like with flowers. So it's a foam carved. We did a lot of foam carving, but it's actually carved out of foam, and then you put a thin layer of plaster over it, and then you can actually break it, and it looks like rock. But it's the way they painted it to make it look like it's the stone.
Yeah.
So and this is the magical thing that many of us during that era, the 80s and later the 90s, we're building this stuff. And that way you don't have to hurt your back. It's nice to have the actual one like you had. But now when you're going and making your appearances, it's really fun to pick something up that people think is very heavy. And you just like, and it floats and they're like, what? They just go crazy for it. And it's all in how you decorate it and stuff. So yeah, you deserve that, because you don't, this is a character that you want to do, forever and ever. I did the Wookiee because I wanted to be C-3PO and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I was just too young to try and figure out how the heck did they do C-3PO, or I would have been C-3PO, because I just love that character. And I was too tall for a Jawa. So I have a friend who's 3'5". I made him a Jawa. And then I had a very big bulky guy, so I made him Darth Vader. And then I made myself the Wookiee, and I had a girlfriend who wanted to be one of the rebel fighters. And we stood out in front of the Chinese theater and made $5 every time someone took a picture. We stood out in front and they took pictures with us, and we each made $5 every photo. So it's a charmed life. It's a crazy thing. And I'll bet you guys do the same, because people love the Ghostbusters.
Sure.
I can't get over the creativity that I see. I saw a baby carriage that looked like the Ecto 1. Whoa! It's just amazing. Okay, so now you've built that, and you're going to what, conventions and stuff? Or where are you wearing your outfit?
Well, yeah, conventions a couple times. The premiere for 2016 for the reboot. We wore it there.
Okay.
I've been to the studio a couple times, and then Halloween, impress friends. It used to hang in my living room before I got the case. So when people come over, it's just like, hey, check this out. You turn it on, it heats up. But I moved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
36, so it's now in a case and it's displayed nicely. But if there's any official events, I don't suit up I have the full flight suit, but I don't really wear it that much. We have our little containment unit casual flight suit that we wear now, Matt and I. But it's
that's
fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you and Matt connect? And Matt, how did you get started with this movie? Was this life changing for you?
It was. I have pictures as well ready for you. Let's see. So here would be my first go. That's me with the blue proton. I'm the taller one, and
you guys are so cute.
And the flight suit, I think, was from Universal Studios, because they had the spooktacular. And I would go all the time. They would sell flight suits, and so my parents would pick that up. And I've got my proton pack, and me and my neighbor, we would run out and play Ghostbusters all the time. Let's see. I got some other ones for you. Here, this is fun. So for my 6th birthday, the Ghostbusters came to my birthday, because there was a ghost.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
They had to extinguish Slimer that was living in my kitchen, and it was this whole ordeal.
Oh,
the whole week leading up to it, my parents were playing, I think there's a ghost. I think there's a ghost. And so the Ghostbusters came, and the car, as an adult looking back, it looks different, but I swore that was the one from the movie.
Of course.
So that was, man,
I love it.
I was doing all that, and then here's my picture like Tom. This is at the Sony lot, and I'm wearing Tom's pack. But
look at that.
Yep. So to see the car, the car is very much a character, and
yes, it is.
So I was starstruck to see the car, and I was grateful Tom let me borrow his pack for the picture. That's all I really wanted to wear it for, because it is super heavy. And then last one of me fangirling a little bit is when I was in New York, and the first time I saw the firehouse. Wow.
That is so nice. That is so cool.
Because I had the toys, and it's everywhere. And as soon as I turned the corner and I saw it, it was awe-inspiring for me. And
yeah.
So Yeah, it's been a lifelong. I think for me, I don't know if it's the same for Tom, because I was born in '84, but I think for me it started with the cartoon and Ghostbusters 2, and then and obviously I saw the first one quite a bit when I was young too, but I think it was were those things and the toys, and man, I was just sucked in from the absolute beginning.
I definitely remember being a fan before Ghostbusters 2. And I know that I was a fan of the movie because of Slimer and Stay Puft, but I watched the cartoon religiously. But we had the first one on VHS, and I remember watching it constantly. And I was always, Egon was my guy.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harold Ramis and I
Yeah.
share a birthday, so that's my claim.
Oh, that's lovely. It's a really cool thing. So did you guys ever connect? There's a couple of people out there that have rebuilt the Ecto-1. There, you've got guys like you who became the Ghostbusters, but then you've got people who are building the Ecto-1.
Yeah.
They're out there going, I gotta have everything.
There's a guy in San Diego who I became buddies with, and he has one of the best replicas that I've ever seen. Someday I'm gonna convince him to let me take it for it. I have two dreams, Terry. One of them is to drive the Ecto-1. The other one is to slide down a fire pole. I've not done either of them, and someday these things are gonna happen.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, but
in your we got to have the light pack, the light thing for you if you're gonna do that, so you're not gonna hurt yourself. But absolutely, and it's cute because you guys are talking about going in front of the firehouse and posing and everything, and it's just you need to go back and do that with your outfit on.
Yes.
You gotta fly to New York and do it together.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
But that's why these
my husband and I are people that wherever we are, wherever we go, we look up the movie, what movies we like that are there. So Jaws is one of our favorite.
Yep. Love it.
And Close Encounters is another one. So when we went to Devil's Tower, we're driving on this little 2-lane street and there's a dead deer on the side of the road. So we back up and we film us driving past, and then we play music and we show the video. And then I'm sitting up on Devil's Tower going, Los Angeles! I think everybody, it's something that you should do. You don't want to miss out on seeing these locations where people have chosen it. Absolutely. Yeah. So what else were you going to say, Matt?
Oh, I was going to back with the Ecto. We have one of our moderators who helps us run our group. What is Chris? What does Hampton drive? A Kia Soul? It's something like that. And
that's for not knowing.
And he made it. He turned it into an Ecto. So he's building all the pieces and taking his vehicle now. And I mean, it's super cool. And so one day I will probably join that group.
I just think it's a cool idea. My car was Vader 1 and it breathed. It had the license plate on the back that said Vader 1 and it breathed. So I'm in my Wookiee suit and I pull up to a stoplight. The lifts are off my feet, but I'm in full Wookiee regalia and my car is breathing. And a guy turns to ask me directions. He's like, I don't even remember when it was, but when I was on the street, I was finishing up and and he turns and he says, can you tell me how to get to, and I went, just crazy. So we're all, as I call squids, just, it's wonderful to be able to immerse yourself in those characters that you love. So that is awesome. That is, there's a guy by me that I keep saying whenever they open this there's a makeup supply place for Hollywood over near my house. And he's got a little Ecto that he made. And I've got to go over and take pictures of it. I just got to pop over, take some pictures. Hopefully he'll come running up going, what are you doing near my car? And then I'll take pictures of him in front of his car. And I'll send them to you. It's so clever what I see. people, and it touches my heart that a movie that long ago can mean so much to so many.
Yeah,
and people say, well, did you like the one with the women in it? No, not really, but I loved it because my residuals went up.
Yeah,
Everybody went back to see the original.
We've been very blessed over the last 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years in February that we've been doing this. We've met the people we never thought we'd meet. We've chatted with people we never thought we'd chat to, and you know, we do this and we conduct these signings and these interviews not because we're trying to make money on it or anything. We do it because it's fun for us, and we get to bring the names to people who normally wouldn't be able to get a Terri Hardin autograph, you know, or a Mark Siegel, and it's just been incredible for us.
Honestly, one of the reasons that that I feel very strongly about this is because I was a huge Burgess Meredith fan, and I loved him in some Twilight Zones. And when I got to meet him and interview him, he didn't remember a Twilight Zone. Mm. So you get all excited, and they're like, "Oh, kid, it was just a job." And that's kind of like, that's a little tacky. Okay, you're an actor. Act, you idiot. It's just, you know, because the fans come and they're so excited to meet you. As I'm excited to meet people that, you know, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner was a monumental film for me as a little girl because I had never seen black and white married people. When my father and my mother married, it was 1956. It was still segregated. They couldn't get married in California. They had to go to Mexico.
Oh, geez.
So to see a movie that depicts a young white girl who falls in love with a black man and how the family is dealing with it as a little girl, it's just like Whoopi Goldberg says, you know, Mom, there's a black lady on TV and she ain't no maid, talking about the woman in Star Trek. You know, and it's just one of those things for us. We love it, and we don't want you to say it's just a job. So I was at D23, not the one you're speaking of, but I was at another D23, and I'm at a table, and I'm doing some signings, and I'm selling some of my sculptures and things. And I'm sitting next to the voice of Bambi. And I can barely breathe because Bambi is one of my favorite films. And I tell him so. Oh my God, you were the voice. Oh my, wow, what was that like? And you're the voice of Bambi? I'm Imagineer Terri Hardin. I loved Bambi. And he was very funny because I said, what was it like? And he said, it was a job. And I went, oh no. No. You are not going to say to me, it was a job. You better rethink that answer. And he was like, who is this chick? You know, but I was like, dude, you understand? Okay, you've got all these pictures of Bambi on your table. If you tell them it's just a job, this is going to be your gesture. You ain't going to sell butt kiss, buddy. So let's talk about your story. What was it like to be the voice of Bambi? And let me ask you another question. Why you? What makes you so special that you were the voice of Bambi? Were you related to Walt Disney? Related to someone who liked Walt Disney? Were you a secret Disney love child? What's your story? And his wife says, you are something else. And the woman who said, oh, Terri, she's all about truth. She's going to drive you nuts. So just answer her questions and move on. And he said, get this, what he said. He said, well, I don't know really why me. It could have been the Academy Award I won in, what? What? And he's just like this, you know, you won an Academy Award? Yeah. How old are you? 7. Okay, let me help you. Let me help you make lots of money. And all you have to do is sign my Bambi book. And I told him, you tell them what it's like. I want you to think about what you got to do as a 7-year-old on the lot. Did Walt Disney escort you personally? Yeah. No, yeah. This is what you say, repeat after me. Walt Disney escorted me personally. I was the only child that got to pet the deer. You've seen the drawings of the animators sketching the deer. Well, I got to actually interact with these deer. And all of a sudden he was like, wow. He made a mint. He made a lot of money. But these people, I crack up at people who are going, you have to understand, and I don't even need to tell Thomas and Matt, Ghostbusters is your family. If you walk up to somebody that you have been trying to get to hear from, and they tell you it was just another job, no big deal, that is offensive. It's like they just dissed your sister. Okay? So you have a responsibility as someone who's worked on the movie, any movie. I mean, I did Monkey Bone, and I'm like, but I've got fans of Monkey Bone. So I do the voice. 3 balls for $1. Step right up right now. 3 balls for $1. And they go, ah! And it doesn't matter what I think about the movie. It's what you all think about the movie. If I don't like it, then I have to remember this is your guys' family. And I tell people this all the time. If your truth is that you hate Disney, yet you're working for them because your experience has been bad, lie. Because they're going to hate you. They'll string you up. You won't get out of there alive. Just stop it. There's no reason to do that, because what will happen is you'll start to realize all of the joy. Disney isn't perfect, but Disney is magical. I mean, imagine being an Imagineer and you say, wow, that clay looks pretty nice. I wonder if they'd send me a little sample of that clay. And you call them up and you say, hi, my name is Terry. I work as a Disney Imagineer, and I'm wondering, clay number 752, Chavant, I'm wondering if I can get a sample of that. And the next thing they go, well, Terry Imagineer, is that what you said? Can we get your number? And then they call you up and you go, hello, Terry, Disney Imagineer. And then they hang up. The next thing you know, a truck backs up. And the gangplank comes down. And a pallet of clay comes out. Yeah, it's a magical place. All I had to do was say I was from Disney and magic happens. So I mean, there's downside. Maybe they don't pay the best in some situations. That could be your fault. But on the other hand, you're not asking for it. You're getting all pixie dusted and you're not thinking about what I'll work for nothing. Well, then they'll go, sure, we'd love that. So don't say that. But the point is that then you see all of these other magical things that Disney does for you as an Imagineer. And one of the things they did for me just before the pandemic was that I really wanted to ride Rise of the Resistance, but I didn't want to stay at Disney for the whole day. So I walked up to the cast members and said, I'm a Disney Imagineer. Can I just get on the ride it so I can go home? And they walked me right on.
That's awesome.
I went right on and I rode it. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
That's an ordeal to get on that ride.
Well, and I had done the whole, phone thing to get it. And I was in like the 8:00 p.m. group. But I wanted to just go and go home. I said, I just want to ride it. And they said, how many of there are you? I said, 1. And they're, oh God, and they put me on and I really enjoyed myself. I really, really loved it. But I won't do that too often, but I will do it if, I just really wanted to just ride the ride and go home. And it was lovely, but it's the same with, and then I'll use, if somebody needs something if I can help people out, you know, from Ghostbusters is there's something in some way, like this little kid who wanted he loved the terror dogs. He found out I was a terror dog. He just wanted a picture of me next to the dog. I sent it to him. And, you know, I don't know. My message to anyone who has done a film or anything, don't think that the same people who brought you into this world can't take you out.
Yeah.
You know, if you start to be mean and nasty, then the fans will just turn on you, and then you won't have much of a career. So always be sweet and kind and so nice. And D23 is such an awful convention. It's such a mean convention. They treat their fans so poorly in so many ways that it breaks my heart, the way that they, you know. I remember there was a little boy and he wanted those posters from, like, I think you were talking about, there was one of Yoda, there was one of C-3PO, and there was one of Darth Vader. And I was with Muppets, so I was on the river boat playing Muppet Chickens for the big gala that was in the big arena for their open, you know, it was the very first D23 show. Okay, so they gave us each one of these things. They gave us all, they would only give you guys one poster. So you're all trying to get the other posters, but that, no. And so, but us, they gave us all three. So when I went backstage, I noticed that they had all this surplus. So I just sort of took a couple more. And I tucked them in my bag, and I'm sitting eating, and there's a little boy sitting next to me about your age when you guys were, you know, first being introduced to Ghostbusters, and he's upset. He is so sad. And I said, what's going on? And his mom says, oh, she says, I don't know what I'm going to do. She says, because he is upset, but he's got this C-3PO poster, and he wants Yoda. He really wants to have Yoda. No one will trade with him, you know, and he's upset. And I tried to go and say, I went to the people that are handing them out, and I said, could you just give me a Yoda for my son? And they said, no, you know, this is D23, no. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, well, how about if I give you all three? I don't have Yoda. I have all three. Would you like all three? And the boy, you know, and the white mom's like, you know, and yeah, here. Don't you want it? I said, no. I said, no. Only reason I take this stuff is because I'll speak at clubs and stuff, and I want to put them in the raffle so that the club makes money. And that's what I do with my Patreon page. I have all this cool stuff that people have given me. Now I can put it on eBay, and some of it I do. Full disclosure, some of it I do. But there are other things that I don't. And so then I give it to my patrons. People are paying every month to have time with me and to see what's going on. So I do a treasure chest once a month, and they get stuff I've got. I've got things from Country Bear pins to dinosaurs stuff, because dinosaurs is coming to Disney Plus. That's Disney Plus's gift to me. And then sometimes, like, I had a pair of Haunted Mansion slippers. Never worn them. Somebody gave them to me. People go, Haunted Mansion, wah! You know. So I sent them to her. Not because I'm all powerful, but it cleans my house and makes somebody else happy. You know, so when these people from Ghostbusters came, I had this 35-foot long banner for Ghostbusters 2. And I didn't like Ghostbusters 2, but they gave me Ghostbusters 2. And I said, would you guys like this banner? And they were just all over themselves, because it's something that's very special to them. I know they're going to take care of it. I know it's going to be amazing. So I don't know. I just think that you don't have a right. If you're going to be in the public image, you don't have the right to be mean to people. You don't have the right to act like, you know, oh, please, you know, you cannot do the go away kid, you bother me bit. It's
Yeah.
not allowed.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it. when you're
But
out, because I'm going to be old one day, and you're going to be like, Terry, remember when you were the terror dog? And I'm going to be like, what?
So hold on, if I'm understanding correctly, I have to join Patreon, and that's my angle to get the script, right? Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I can find it, we'll talk. Okay, seriously.
Perfect.
I have a couple of scripts that are very dear to me. Ghostbusters is. I didn't think to have them sign it because they were colleagues, but I have a script signed by Dolly Parton,
Oh, wow.
and I have a script signed by Ray Bradbury. Because when I was very young, I was 16, I did a voice for a little animated thing that was a Ray Bradbury story. And I met Ray Bradbury. I was a big fan of Fahrenheit 451. I loved that because I love books. So the fact that the burning of books is, movie was terrible, but the book was amazing. So what Ray did was he did a series of plays. He said he couldn't get control. He didn't have enough creative control for movies and for TV. So he decided to do plays, and he rewrote, or he elaborated his Fahrenheit 451. And I absolutely, when I went to the play, I absolutely lost my mind. I thought it was so good that when I saw him again, I said, I got to tell you, this is the most amazing script. I thought the book couldn't get any better, and now you've done this play, and I'm besides, I can't. Oh my God, it was so good. And he says, you really like, oh my God. I mean, and I'm telling him all these scenes, I'm acting them out. And so he pulls out a script, he signs it, and he says, well, you deserve a script. And I still have it. That's so awesome. There's a couple of things that I love. I had Star Wars scripts. I sold those in a big auction, and they were signed by Ivan Reitman. And I had a poster signed by George Lucas and everybody under the sun, and that went for a lot. And there's all kinds of stories that I got to put in the book. Like Steve Sansweet and he came to evaluate my collection. He came in and he walked through my front door, and I said, I hope you brought your checkbook. He says, I'm the biggest Star Wars collector in the world, right? Oh, yeah. Did you bring your checkbook? He's like, you kid, you do not have anything that I don't already have. And I said, okay, but did you bring your checkbook? I said, oh, yes. Okay, come in. And I had this, after seeing Empire Strikes Back, standing there for 3 days, I mentioned that I collected one sheets. I tried to collect everything, but it was moving me out of my apartment. So I said, I've got to hone it down. And so I collected the one sheets. Well, shortly after Empire was released, I was sent a package about, I can't even fit my hands in the frame, but big, okay, with a letter that said, Dear Terry, this is for you. Enjoy. It was a 11 foot, anyway, huge, of the Gone with the Wind poster billboard that they put on the billboards that you drive your car under. 2 weeks before Empire came out, they pulled out, George Lucas decided he didn't like that, and he did the Darth Vader with the Starfield. So Steven Sansweet is sitting in my living room, and I'm showing him crazy collectibles. Like, for example, the Times ran a Star Wars comic. Okay? They used to run it in the paper every day, and then on the weekends it was in color. I had every single comic cut out and in envelopes, and it ran for like 4 or 5 years. So I had the box. Okay. I had the Star Wars theme on the bagpipes, the accordion, the pan flute, the harmonica, I had these albums, and that was all played by all the student stuff. So Steven is like, oh my God, you are a crazy collector. But then I said to him, I said, dude, I said, now you want to see it. It's time for you to see it. And he says, what's it? And I said, I'll show you. Are you ready? And he said, okay. And so I had him hold his hands like this, and I placed this piece in his hands. And I said, just lift up the corner. He lifted up the corner. Do you remember when you got that thing that you wanted to collect, that you had wanted, and then you finally found it? Remember the feeling? Remember the dryness in your throat? Stephen Sansweet sat there and his breath changed. And then a trickle of sweat went down his forehead. And he whispered, I thought it was a myth. I thought it was a myth. The letter said, in your hand you hold only 2 of the Gone with the Wind posters. I kept one for myself, and I sent one to you. The rest of them I was ordered to burn. And so I did. So in your hands is the only remaining one of 2. And Stephen just...
Wow.
And I said, how much would you pay? And he said, I can't. It's priceless, Terry. You could retire on this thing. And I said, that was not my question. How much would you pay? And he just, you know, and then he gave me a number, and I said, sold. And he said, why would you sell it to me when I just told you it's priceless? And I said, because you are the biggest Star Wars collector in the universe. And I need it to be safe, and it needs to be with you. And he was just, you know, we've been friends ever since. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and I hear he's got this wonderful now museum, and I should reach out and whatever. But yeah, this was an exciting time to get that poster where it needed to go.
Yep.
And to get it to where it needed to be. So for me, it was going into a thrift store on Lancashire Boulevard in Southern California, blowing the dust off what I thought was a Peter Max poster or something, and it turned out to be the Mylar poster from Star Wars. Rolled it up, walked up to the guy. How much is this poster that I found in the butt under the dust? And the guy went, $5. What I really wanted to do was, let me see if I have it. Ran out the door and held it like this. Later, Profiles in History sold it for over $5,000.
Wow. Wow.
My dream. It just might. When I tell people I don't collect Disney, I don't. But boy, let me tell you, I do. I did collect. And oh my goodness, I respect any collector and anybody who loves stuff. And Ghostbusters is a very special movie to me, because it had some of the nicest people supporting you and caring about you and making fun of me and teasing me and punking me, and then at the end presenting me with a seriously cool jacket.
It is a
cool jacket.
you're
just like, you guys are so sweet.
Yeah.
You guys are so just, you know. So thank you both, because both of you and all of your fans for helping us be alive and being the gift that keeps on giving. Because I that movie means a lot to me. I was able to buy my dream car with one check. I'm going to be one of those people that tells you always the truth. I remember that when I got my first residual check, one of my first residual checks from Ghostbusters, I have an astigmatism. So I had to take it to somebody who could read it for me, because I thought I was reading it wrong. I'm going to buy my dream car right now.
That's cool.
Cool. Like now I'm going to, just what a dream come true for me. to do it. It was definitely my Star Wars film.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it was great. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. And to have
think,
just like everybody, to not have my credit on there, I was very sad. But I thought I was just, you know, I mean, maybe they don't put everybody's name on if you're not a talking person. But when I saw how angry everybody else was, I realized that there had been a serious mistake. And so it wasn't just, you know, you're so happy to be on it. You go, I don't really need the credits, do I?
Well, Terri, credited or not, you're a critical and important piece of film history and in Ghostbusters fandom and Ghostbusters history. And we're grateful that you not only worked on the film, but that you spent time with Maddie and I today. It's been a pleasure.
Well, see, now you got enough for like how many podcasts, right?
I know, right?
You have all these spin-offs that you own.
Yeah.